Hello, everyone. So, I welcome you to this edition of our training. So, today we'll be visualizing the Malawi flood data of 2015 using the QGIS software. So, you will learn more about this software as we proceed. The 2015 Malawi flood impacts, that's the first thing we'll be considering. What you are expected to do as far as this task, this project is concerned, and the project is part of the Zindi competition. Zindi competition is actually the cargo version for me, the cargo version or African cargo version rather. We look at the data for the project. There are quite many, and they come in different formats, so we'll see how best to look at them. So the next thing is, just like I said, is a competition. We want to know how the project will be evaluated so that we'll be on the right track. We'll be able to ensure that we are doing the right thing. All right, so this number 5 is the practical aspect where we switch on to QGIS and we learn how to load, learn how to display and match shape files. Okay, then how to limit the shape, the map to that of Malawi, the shape map to Malawi. All right, so let's start straight away and talk about the 2015 Malawi flood impact. When the rains began in Insangen province, one of the provinces in Malawi, on the 11th of January 2015, a 20-kilometer long vein of cropland on the east bank of the Shah River was overwhelmed, destroying resources needed to sustain the population for a year. So that's a big natural disaster. All right, as far as this competition is concerned, this is what you are expected to do. Interpret and generate insight from the data. We'll be looking at the data shortly on the 2015 flooding and its aftermath, specifically in southern Malawi. So the data for the project, it entails demography and social economic indicator, demography and air data, the flood asset, the food prices, food security, health sites, Malawi building based on OSM. OSM is actually OpenStreetMap. Point of interest, I'm sure that one is also based on OSM, and population density maps. So our ability to extract useful information and be able to display them will go a long way in helping us to win the competition. How the competition or the project will be evaluated, whatever you do, number 1 is the uniqueness of the insight. Now the question that will be asked as you submit your work will be, did the data scientist analyze the data in new ways and uncover insights and findings that are not obvious? Your ability to do that will make you to score 30% if you do it correctly. Effective, number 2 is the effective communication idea. Are the findings easy to understand and well communicated? Yeah, so your ability to do that one too will earn you 30%. The potential impact of the insight, would the key messages likely change thinking or even drive action by policymakers and other stakeholders? 30%. For the overall presentation, is the design of the visuals and the deliverable well done? 10%. So how you organize everything. Okay. All right, so now it's time for us to go to the practical aspect of the work. So we'll be connecting to the server to be able to achieve this. Okay. All right, so while we're still waiting to connect, so I want to inform you that QGIS software is a software. The Q in GIS actually stands for quantum. It's a software. So here is the software. I've already opened it. This is what you will see when you open it. So it's a software for GIS, for plotting map and to do some advanced GIS work as well, for geospatial analysis, for location analytics. You will be able to use it. Okay, now for many of you that have used software like Microsoft or Microsoft Excel, generally Microsoft Office, you'll be able to relate with some of the things here. But as far as this training is concerned, we'll just be looking at the functionality that we really need. We'll not be looking at everything, and I don't want to burden you with taking you through everything one by one. But the first thing we are going to do, based on our agenda, is to load our files. Before we load our file, let me show you the actual location of the files that we are going to be using is here. For as many of you that have paid for this course and have access, so you can see it here. This is the data set. It comes in different format, just like I said. These ones are in CSV. Some are not in CSV, like for example this one. It's a shape file. Let us extract everything. Okay, let's extract them one by one. So if you are following me and you have your QGIS open, I will implore you to do the same thing. Okay, so that one is done. Everything is extracted, and as you can see, the format is quite different. We call these shape files. One thing you must note about shape files is that they normally come in five or more files. You can see them, but the most important one, the one that will always be loaded, is this .shp, the shape file. But others are also important because the program stores other additional data. So don't make the mistake of deleting the remaining four. Always retain them. So that is very, very important. So we're going to extract the second one. We go to the third zip file, we extract it. So, and I want to believe that you are doing exactly the same thing. They are opening fast because they are not all that big, but there's that possibility of finding big ones as well. All right, so these are the files. This one's coming shape files. The full security, they are mostly CSV. So there are other shape files here, so I want you to note that. Now we're going to navigate from here to where, so whenever you open your QGIS, this one will always be open. We go to the C drive, we go to the data sets, and now what I'm going to do, in order for me to be able to get the data that I need quickly, is to make this one a favorite. I'm going to add it to favorite, and lo and behold, you can see what you can see here. It has already is here already. So what I need to do next is to rename. I'm going to rename it as Malawi flood data. So this is quite arbitrary, so you can name it whatever you want, so that you for quick access. All right, so in case I load another data, I can come here and do refresh. So you can just click to refresh. Here you can see my data, so I can just double click to load it here. All right, I click twice, so let me remove one of them. So I can come here as well, click to load, Come here as well, click, just like I told you, it's only .shp that you'll be seeing, which is the shapefile. All right, okay. So your data, it comes in form of layers. So what you see here, we call them layer. This is the first layer, this is the second layer, this is the third layer. You can rearrange the layers. You saw what I did. This one was up before I brought it down, but I can take it up. So the first one we always take preeminence, so will always be the cover one. So as you can see here, let me zoom this. In order for you to zoom, you have to click on plus here, or you use the scroll button on your mouse to be able to do that. You can see, because this gray one is on top of this, actually the colors are here. So the color that you see here is the one you see here, because this one is on top, the gray one, so it's covering the other one that is down. So you can see that at times when you open your map, you may not see anything, maybe because you have used this hand to drag to the left, and you may be confused. And this is the entire world here you are seeing in this black. So what you need to do to bring something is to click on the layer you are working on and say zoom to layer. So it will bring you your this thing, your map. Okay. Now what are we going to do? We want to display this thing properly. Okay. So we are going to start with the first one. The color is, and also I can uncheck all this one. It doesn't mean they are not loaded. It's only that I want to be able to focus on one, so that's why I'm doing the uncheck. So I can, if I want to bring another one back, I just click on this. You can see that. Okay, it's still loaded, but it's not just being displayed. Oh, by the way, we have not saved our project, so this is a good habit. Let's just go back to our folder here. Here we have our data set. We can just save it here. You can just say Malawi. Again, you can decide to name it whatever you like. Okay, so I've named it. So what I want to do here is to make the color to change. How do I do that? I can double click here and come here and change the color. I'll prefer blue. Okay, so you can see I can change the color here, and I can just click. It's already showing me the correct one, which is blue. I can also use this one. So be mindful of this. I'm using my mouse to drag this. So if you want it to be this exact color, you need to drag this point there. If you want it to be black, so this is another method. So you can also use this. The name was appearing now. Let me see, what is the name again? Color picker, also to do the same thing. But I always go for this. But you can choose the method that you like. So let me click on OK. If I don't want anything, I will just come here and say no brush. If I want something vertical, so you have many options here. So, and I will implore you to play with this later. So I've selected this. I'm going to say apply. Oh, you can see what has happened. So you can see the color is now blue. But there's another thing. If you look closely, you will discover that there's a black. Most especially, you may not be able to see it clearly here, but in the first one, I can see. You see, there are so many black dots here. So we need to do something. We can need to double click here again. So another way of accessing this page is just to right click. For those of you that are very new to QGIS, right click, you go to properties, then you select Symbiology in case you are lost. Symbiology, very, very important. So all these other functionality, we don't need them now. But when we get to the bridge, when we actually need them, we'll talk about that. So the black border I'm talking about is this one here. We need to change it to blue. You can see the effect of saving the color. I right click to save. You see it is here now. Okay, so I just click to select the color. So I can determine how big I want the border, the stroke to be. For instance, I want to make it to be 3 millimeters, and I want it to be a solid line, so it will. All right, you can see, I can see my map in blue. Okay, now I want to do the same thing. So I want to believe that you are also doing what I'm doing here. So now I want to do it to this one too. I can decide to uncheck the first one. It's already a finished work. So I can just say properties, right click, symbiology. I'm changing this to blue. I'm changing this one also to blue. And for the sake of uniformity, I'm changing this one to 3. 0.3, not if you put 3, it will disfigure the map because it will be too heavy. All right, I have another map. So I'm going to the third one now. You see, I can't see anything on my screen. I can use my hand to scroll up, scroll down, but it may be cumbersome. But use the trick I told you about the other time. Right click and say zoom to layer. Yeah, you have everything here. You see, this one is grayish and black. I double click again. I come here and make this one blue. I come here again. I make this one blue. Everything is now blue. All right, so I have my 3 map neatly. They are now in blue. Now you see it. So I plotted this one is here. Let me plot the other one too. Is right here. You can see this one, these two are overlapping. So, but you can see if I uncheck one, you can see they are overlapping. Okay, but they are maps, so that's the essence of making them blue. They are not 3 different objects. If they were to be 3 different things, maybe this one denoting this one denoting buildings, I can decide to use different color. But because they are denoting the same thing. Now the question you may want to ask, what about the Malawi? The Malawi Mozambique flooding. Let's look at it. I don't so much trust this one. It covers a lot of area, but if you look at it closely, it doesn't flow like a river. You can see you have this block. It doesn't look like a neat data for me, and it has so many data points. It's only that it is stopping abruptly when it got here. All right, for now, I'm not saying you may not use it in your data, but for now I'm going to exclude it so that my life will be easier. Okay, so I have this 3 data. Well, some of you may be wondering, you are saying map, but this one doesn't look like map. Yes, you are correct. It's not. It's just a set of polygons, if you can use that one. Okay, shape, as they normally call it, shape files. So now the question you may want to ask me is this: how do I bring in the map? So what you need to do is to go to plugins. I say manage and install plugin. All right, then if you have just installed this thing for the very first time, you go to setting and you say show also experimental plugin, show also deprecated plugin. All right, so if you don't do that, let me show you the implication of not doing that. What I need is open layer plugin. You can see it's not on this list, and it's not that it doesn't exist. It's only that it along the line they built it, but along the line it's not being updated, or it lost its compatibility with the latest version with QGIS 3, and it starts throwing arrow, it starts hanging the system. So QGIS has categorized it as a special software that you need to bring in by yourself. So, and that's one of the reasons why we are using, let me close this version of QGIS is 3.81. It's actually an old version. If you look at the year 2018, so it's relatively, it's still not too old, but you can get a better version. But the implication is that if you get some of that latest version, some of these plugins may not work. So the ideal thing is just to do what? Use this 3.81. But you can, if you want to go ahead, you try it. If it works for you, good for you. If it doesn't work, you have the option of quickly reverting back. Okay. So we have seen that OpenLayer refused to work, will refuse to show up. So it says show also experimental plugins. These are plugins that others are doing. Because QGIS is an open source, is free, so you get people that support, that write, that are knowledgeable about programming, and they write software to be able to support. So, and some are the experimental stage, while some, because of the reason I told you earlier on, it has not been upgraded or updated for a long time, so they have become duplicated and they are destabilizing this QGIS, maybe freezing it. So that is that. So now I'm going to go back to OpenLayer. You can see now it's one of the options now. So I'm going to say install the plugin. It doesn't take time. Note that you require internet access for this, and also if you want to use the plugin you will require internet access. So that one is very important. So I don't want a situation where you be bombarding me with questions. This thing is not working. It's working, but you require internet. Okay. So what we need to do, the plugins, it may appear anywhere, but because this one is web related, it will appear here. You can see it here. So others may appear under different menu here. So just note that. So you may just search and do like this. You will find wherever it has been installed. So we want to add a base map. We want to make these shape files to have a kind of map. So we go to Bing. We can try Bing area. You can see it's throwing me an error, but it doesn't. It's just like a warning, but it's fine. It will still work. All right, you can see this one is a satellite kind of image, and we can see a line like water here. So this one we can zoom in nicely. We may even be lucky to see some of the buildings. Okay, I think I can see some buildings here. So if you zoom this one too much, it will complain. You may not be the distance that you can see is not all that deep. Okay. Okay, so what you will discover, okay, this is the part of the flood. What we discover is that you cannot see the map, the shape, the flood that we plotted. So what you need to do in that case is to bring these three up so that you'll be able to see the plotting. Instead of bringing these three up, why can't you bring the area, the satellite map down? Okay, you can see the plot, and I can see the river there. I don't know whether it's actually the flood, but I can see the river. You can see it here. If I uncheck these three, you can see the part here is similar to what we have there. So there's an indication that there's a river there. Okay. So when we started, we stated as part of our what we'll be looking at to look at how we can merge. So we want to merge this just to be a single file. So let's do the merging. Okay, let's merge. Okay, so there's another thing we need to do before we actually do the merging. Okay, let's do the merging first. There's no problem with that. So this is a shape file. Shape files are often referred to in GIS as vector, whereas raster are usually images. So if you want to do anything, although you may find some of the functions for vector under images, so under raster, so please use vector, otherwise it may give you a problem that you are not expecting. Okay, so what we want to do now is to merge our vector. So we go to data management to merge vector. Okay, so input layers are our layers here, so it's displaying them here. Note that it's not displaying the bin area, so it's displaying only the vector, which are the shape files. So we are actually merging these three. So we'll leave out the Mozambique for now. Okay, let's select the three and say okay. All right, so we need to select the CRS. Let's see whether it's going to give us a default. So there's nothing default here. So we may need to look for the projection that we have, but for this one is 3857. Let's see whether we'll get it. 3857. Okay, that's the one. Okay, then where do we save our file? Remember, you want to save a shape file. Each time you save it, it's going to give you five files, right? Okay, so this is what we are going to do. We go to UNICEF Malawi, the same folder. So what we create a folder, we can say created shape file. So that's what we are going to say, the shape files that we have created on our own. All right, we save it here. So we select the shape file option and we come here, we say this one is quite arbitrary, but you can say flood data merge. You can name it whatever you want, but the sake of uniformity, in case you want to come to me and say, hey, I'm having problem, it's better you name me what I'm naming so that I can easily troubleshoot for you. There's an option of opening the output file after running. So that one is good if the file is not too big, but don't let us do that for now. We'll go and open manually. At least we'll be able to confirm whether it's already created. All right, it's merging them together. Note that the time it will take, it depends on the speed of your computer, and it also depends on how many things you are trying to merge. You see, it's giving me notification here that task complete. It's executed and is successful. You can see. Okay, so instead of these three ones, now we only have one. Let me navigate to it. Remember when we started, I told you about the fact that for you to see additional info, you may come and refresh. Okay, so we are going to click on this one to refresh. Do we find something here? Or we won't be able to find because we save it outside. So we have to go back to where we save the outside the folder we created. So what we need to do is to add it to favorites. We can say Malawi flood. So this one will be like a universal something. Malawi flood data 2. So if I just need Malawi data, I go here. If I need the extra shape file that I've created, So okay, so we have what we have created here. All right, so let's just go and confirm. I'm going to do like this. All right, go up one level, see the created. You can see, just like I told you, there are 5 in here, but we just load this one. We already loaded this one. In order to view the one that we just loaded now, let's take out the Bing area and let's zoom to it. I've not taken out the Bing area, but I will do that. Let's zoom to it. Okay, so let's take out the Bing area now. All right, as you can see, they perfectly, the one that we have brought now perfectly match the existing one. You can see what I'm doing. I've removed the background one. You see, there's nothing there again. I'm only working with this. Yeah, so what I need to do now is to right click and do what we have been doing earlier on. I'm going to make this to be blue. Good. I'm also going to make this one to be blue. I'm going to make this one to be 3 point, just like we have been doing. So if you want to make it bigger, you can even explore the implication of increasing it here and there. All right, I have this one now. Okay, so one thing I've noticed with this, they said we should work on Malawi. So what we need to do also here is to actually get the map of Malawi, the outline. So we can just go to Google Malawi outline, Malawi map outline shapefile. Okay, all right, so this website, we can explore it. Can we find something to download? Okay, it's giving us something, MAA. So you can see it comes with different formats. It's saying this format, S3 map info, but the one we have been using is shapefile. So let's stay with this one. Let's click. All right, it's already being downloaded. You can see it's moving. It has finished downloading. So I wanted to show the folder. This is where it has put it. I'm going to cut it, take it to my UNICEF. So I'm going to say extra dataset extra. Okay, I'm going to name it that way. Okay, and I want you to note as well, let me extract it first, that what you have here, the plugin openly give you information about the country map as well. For example, now if I do Bing Road, so it will give me the line. This line I've gone to download as a shapefile. You see, this is the map of Malawi. You see this line, it's actually the map of Malawi. You'll be able to confirm whether I'm telling you the truth or not when I bring in the other one. Okay, so I'm going to take this one out. There are other map, even better map, that we can also look at. Look at it. I can do OpenStreet. I don't know why, I just like OpenStreet. Okay, so here's the OpenStreet one. All right, you can see the map is showing, and it's even showing you some of the major cities in Malawi. Outside here is Mozambique. Okay. All right. Let me put it under my match data. I need to keep this just to be able to come. So if you remember, they said southern Malawi. You can see this is the southern part. Okay. So now let's go to our extra data. Come on, my extra data, where are you? Let me refresh this. Let me open the second one, which is a bit universal. Okay, here it is. I'm going to bring my 2857. So it's telling me the reference system is different. 4326. Maybe that's the reference system I have to go and be using. 4326. Okay, so maybe I need to switch it to this one. All right, I have so many. Apart from this, is not. I don't think this is the one I want, because it's giving me extra information. So you can see there in the picture, it's giving me the data. I'm only interested in the border, but what it has studied is it has succeeded in giving me is the order, the division of the country, maybe by district, but it is one administrative level or the order. Okay, so I need to go and look at that and go back and download something more relevant. So this one you don't need to delete. If you have downloaded it, will be useful for our work later, because as we display the map, we want to be able to look at it at different level. You can see they say administrative layer, administrative boundaries. Could this be the one we need? Okay, let's download this one. Come on, download. It's already here. Okay, we can see. I don't think this is the relevant one. Where is it now? Where is it? This one is giving me information on the boundaries inside. This looks more like the one that we need, just the outline only. This one, so you can see the okay, let me download that one. I think that is the one we need. You are the one we need. You are the one we need. Well, I can see something being downloaded. Download again. Come on. All right. Being downloaded. It has finished downloading. Let me see the folder. Let me move it from here to our folder, to the extra, to the data extra. Extract everything. Extracted. Time to go back, so we can easily uncheck this one and remove it. This is how we remove layer. Right click and say remove layer. Let's remove this Malawi, since we are not using it at the moment. Let's remove this Bing area. Okay, we can. Let's remove it. We can always bring it. That's the satellite area now. Okay, so I've refreshed. Now I have the additional data, but it will not show until I refresh. Okay, so I have my outline here. I double click it. All right, saying what it was saying the other time. Let's just use this one. I hope that's the right reference system. Come on. It will not show because it's under this one. So we have to take it up right to the top. Okay. All right, there's a problem. we are using the wrong. I just wanted to confirm that, but that has been confirmed. See, the map is here. So you always encounter this if you use the wrong reference system. The map is right there when I say zoom to layer, but it's not where the flood is. It's not in this place. So there may be a problem with the reference system. Let's remove it. Hopefully it will allow us to put the reference system there. Okay. So let's use this one. Okay, it's there. All right, here we go. So what we need the outline. We don't need it to be shaded because we want this, our blue one, to be on top. So you know how to do this. So what we do to get rid of the shade is not to make it solid. That will solve the problem. So we want this border to be thicker. Let's make it 5. It's the border of the country. The boundaries, rather. Or you can call it border too. Okay, here we go. Apply. All right, I have the border now, so which is a good thing. It has disappeared. I can always say zoom to layer. So that's what we'll be doing most often. So now what we want to do now is to remove all this flood data, the flood shapes that are outside Malawi. How do we do that? We can look for the difference between the two. So there's a handy tool we can use here to find the difference. This one. So I'm looking for the difference between the outline and this one. Then we are going to save it. Create a shape file. We can save it here, but I prefer to make it file individual. Okay, so I can just say map Malawi boundary. Let's say flood data within Malawi. Within. All right. So I may need to change this reference system later, but let's see what it will give us. Uh-huh. 4326. All right, so we are waiting for it to run. So it's throwing me an error. You see feature 3 has invalid geometry. Please fix the geometry or change the setting. Ignore invalid. Okay. So there's a way we can fix this automatically. All right. So let's fix this one, the flood data. So what we do now is to go to view. Hopefully I'll be able to find what I'm looking for quickly. View, not this one, not this one. I need to get what we need to use for that. Just a moment. I'm looking for processing toolbox right here. All right, so this one will make life a lot easier because I want to fix the geometry. I can just come here and say fix geometries. Here's an option to do that. So I want to fix my flood Malawi merge, and I'm going to say save it as flood Malawi merged fixed. If you want to say geometric fix, but you will understand it because you are the one that is doing that. Should I allow it to just open after it's done? Okay, let me allow that. But if the file is heavy, that may not be advisable. Okay, I'm looking at this can be memory intensive at times, so you may need to monitor what you are actually running. So I'm just using 16% on my CPU to perform that. And this may also take time, depending. Let's wait for it for some time. So while we are waiting for it, let's be doing some housekeeping. Let's get rid of this blue one. Since we've already matched together, we don't really need them. Most especially if you don't have a big memory. So it's still running, so you can see it on the screen. Okay, it's still running. It is still running. All right, so while it is still running, let me show you what we want to achieve in a diagram mathematically. So what do we want to achieve? Let me show you. Just a moment. Let me look for where the file is hiding. All right. Malawi flood data. All right, let's just wait for it to finish. The file I want to show you. I'll open it before. Let me see. Should be on Basecamp. Okay, let's go to Basecamp. Okay, let's do that. It's still processing the algorithm. let us allow it to do that. All right, I found what I'm looking for. All right, this is what we want to achieve. You can see we have succeeded in tidying this up, removing the black border, making everything to be blue to have uniform color. So we want to do something that we take out all this the Malawi, the Mozambique flood data, so we'll be left with only this blue one. So that's what we want to achieve. So if you can see here, let me drag it this side. So at the end of the day, all these blue ones outside of this Malawi map must go. Yes, they must go. Okay. All right. So because it's taking time, I have to end the tutorial at this level. So you will meet me in part 2 of this tutorial. All right. So I want to give this video like or thumb up, or so, and also subscribe to the channel. That is the right thing to do. All right, before going out, let me save.